Do you know what America's greatest power is? It's not its military, not its technology, not Silicon Valley. The answer is simpler: the dollar. Because the world cannot function without the American dollar. If you want to buy oil, you need dollars. If you want to trade, you need dollars. If you want to protect your reserves, you need dollars. And this gives America tremendous power. They can borrow unlimited amounts because everyone wants their currency. They can sanction other countries because everyone has to use their system. And this system has a name: the petrodollar, the hidden weapon that has ruled the world for 50 years. And now I'm going to explain how this weapon works. I've been working in financial markets for 50 years. I founded one of the world's largest hedge funds. And I can tell you, if you want to understand the global economy, you must understand one thing: reserve currency power. It's always been this way in history. In the 1600s, the Dutch guilder ruled the world, then the British pound, now the American dollar. And this power isn't just economic, it's political, military, geopolitical. Everything. So how did this begin? Let's start the story in 1944. World War II is ending. Europe is in ruins. Japan is destroyed. But America is intact, strong. And the world needs to establish a new monetary system. They hold a conference at Bretton Woods, and they make the decision: the dollar will be the world's reserve currency. And every dollar will be backed by gold. $35 equals 1 ounce of gold. Fixed rate. This system worked for 27 years, but there was a problem. America was financing the Vietnam War, spending on social programs, and printing too many dollars. The gold reserves weren't enough. Other countries noticed. France started converting dollars to gold. Germany, Britain, everyone was demanding gold, and America's gold reserves were melting away. In August 1971, Richard Nixon made a historic decision. He gave a televised address. "We are suspending the convertibility of the dollar to gold," he said, meaning the dollar would no longer be backed by gold. It would be paper money. The world was shocked. Economists said, "This is disaster. The dollar will collapse. Inflation is coming," and they were partly right. The 1970s were catastrophic. Inflation hit 13%. The oil crisis happened. Unemployment rose. Stagflation began. But America had made a plan, and this plan would change everything. In 1973, the Arab-Israeli War happened. Oil prices quadrupled. The world was experiencing an energy crisis. And right at this moment, America acted. Henry Kissinger went to Saudi Arabia, and he made a deal with the Saudi king. The deal was simple. Saudi Arabia would sell oil only for dollars, and in return, America would protect Saudi Arabia. Military protection, weapons sales, regime security. The Saudis accepted, and other OPEC countries followed. Overnight, the world's most important commodity was tied to the dollar, and this changed everything, because now you needed dollars to buy oil. And the world was addicted to oil. This was the birth of the petrodollar system. And this system gave America incredible privileges. First privilege: unlimited borrowing. Normally, if a country borrows too much, its currency loses value. Investors flee. But America is different. No matter how much America borrows, the world still wants dollars, because they need dollars to buy oil, to trade, to hold reserves. Right now, America's debt is $34 trillion, 120% of its GDP, a terrifying number. A normal country would collapse, but America doesn't collapse, because the world continues to finance America's debt. China, Japan, Germany, all buying American bonds. Why? Because there's no alternative. The dollar is the safe haven, and this gives America unlimited spending power. Second privilege: sanctions power. The dollar is the language of global finance. The SWIFT system operates in dollars. International banks transact in dollars. And America controls this system. This means America can exclude any country from the dollar system. It did it to Iran, to Russia, to Venezuela, to North Korea. These sanctions are more effective than war because they destroy the economy. Iran's oil exports collapsed. Russia can't use its frozen reserves. Venezuela went bankrupt, and all of this was done with America's dollar power, without sending a single soldier. Third privilege, inflation export. Normally, if a country prints too much money, it creates inflation in its own country. But America is different. When America prints money, these dollars spread around the world, because the world wants dollars. This means America can export its inflation to the world. The Fed printed trillions. But inflation was felt first in Turkey, Argentina, Egypt. It came to America later. This is incredible power. So, will this system last forever? No. And this is where things get interesting, because history shows us that reserve currencies change. The Dutch guilder lasted 80 years. The British pound lasted 100 years. The American dollar is now in its 81st year, and cracks are beginning to show. First crack, the petrodollar monopoly breaking. China is trading oil with Russia in yuan. Saudi Arabia is discussing selling oil to China in yuan. Iran is selling oil to India in rupees. Slowly, oil trade is decoupling from the dollar. This shakes the foundation of the petrodollar system. Second crack, alternative payment systems. SWIFT is controlled by America, but China built its own system, CIPS. Russia built its own system, SPFS. These systems are still small, but they're growing, and they're reducing America's sanctions power. Third crack, digital currencies. China is testing the digital yuan. The goal is to eliminate the need for dollars in cross-border payments. If they succeed, dollar demand falls. And this is a major threat. Fourth crack, America's debt spiral. $34 trillion of debt is not sustainable. Interest payments increase every year. Right now, they're paying $1 trillion in interest annually. That's more than the defense budget, and the debt keeps growing. At some point, the world will ask, how will America pay this debt? And if confidence cracks, the dollar collapses. So what will happen? There are two scenarios. Scenario 1, slow transition. The dollar slowly loses importance, but doesn't collapse. The euro, yuan, maybe digital currencies increase their share. A multipolar monetary system emerges. The dollar is still important, but not the only one. This is the most likely scenario. Scenario 2, rapid collapse. A crisis triggers it, maybe a debt crisis, maybe a geopolitical shock, and the world loses confidence in the dollar. Capital flees America. The dollar loses value rapidly. Inflation soars, and America loses reserve currency status. This is less likely but possible. In both scenarios, the outcome is the same. America's exorbitant privilege ends. It can no longer borrow unlimited amounts. It can no longer spend unlimited amounts, and the world order will change. Because the reserve currency isn't just money, it's power. And when power changes hands, everything changes. Now let me give you a history lesson. In the early 1900s, Britain ruled the world. The British pound was the reserve currency. The sun never set on the British Empire. But 2 world wars devastated Britain. Debts soared. The empire collapsed. And in 1944 at Bretton Woods, the pound handed the throne to the dollar. Most Britons didn't understand this. They still thought they were a great power. But the truth was, power had passed. America was the new master. Today, we may be experiencing a similar transition. America is still powerful. But rivals are rising. China's economy is growing. Its technology is advancing. Its military power is increasing. And the yuan is slowly opening to international use. It's not as powerful as the dollar yet, but it's getting closer. So, what should you do? If you're an investor, diversify. Hold dollar assets, but not only dollars. Euro, yuan, gold, maybe Bitcoin, because the future is uncertain. And depending on a single currency is risky. If you're a country leader, develop alternatives. Make plans to decouple from the dollar. Establish bilateral trade agreements. Build your own payment systems, because America's sanctions power comes from dollar dependency. And breaking this dependency is freedom. And if you're an ordinary person, understand. The world's monetary system is changing. The order we live in now is 50 years old. The new order will be multipolar, less predictable, more chaotic, but perhaps more fair. Because one country won't be able to manipulate the world for its own interests. In conclusion, the petrodollar system was the most ingenious geopolitical move of the 20th century. America created worldwide demand for paper money, and this demand gave it unlimited power, but every empire has an end, and the dollar empire is approaching its end. Slowly or quickly. We don't know, but what's certain is, change is coming. And this change will reshape the world's power. The petrodollar was America's hidden weapon, but it's not so hidden anymore. The world is aware, and the world is looking for alternatives. History shows us that no system lasts forever, and the dollar is no exception.